fiction, science fiction, horror, fantasy, crime, LGBT, thriller.
You have now entered the House of Mystery.
Welcome back into the House of Mystery. I'm Al Warren. We got Mr. Gold Medal, Mr. Hat Snow Shoveling, Michael Hawley, co-hosting.
Yes, I prefer to be called Magic Mike now because my magic tricks are just awesome.
Yeah, you're doing that all nine. How can you do that with a broken finger?
Yeah, broken thumb. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Then I'll be in a cast for a while, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's tough, at your age, break your thumb, shoveling.
I know, being 63 is really tough.
I'll be 64 soon, so.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, anyway. Well, somebody's got to have the fun, sort of like our guest today. Our guest, Wendy L. Hawken, is now writing as Harper Carr, and the book we're talking about is The Shadow Man. So, Wendy Harper, hi.
I use Wendy / quite a bit now. Wendy / Harper, actually.
Well, so listen, before we get into Shadow Man, what's going on with the name change? Just so followers of Wendy L. Hawken, or W. L. Hawken, so they know what's going on here.
Right. Well, I went to a writer's retreat in Greece in September 2024, I guess it was. And Jonas Saul was there. I don't know if you know Jonas. He's a thriller writer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is that Jonas?
Yes, it was Jonas. And Jonas was the one who kind of talked me into it. And he was saying about how he changed his name and it did a lot of good things for him. So I was sitting there and I thought, I could use that. Like, I was in a place where I really needed something to rev me up and give me some inspiration. And my name, W.L. Hawken, I often get Dear W.L., and I didn't like the initials. And then I get Hawkins a lot, or I get Hawking, as in Stephen Hawking. And so I thought I really need just like a simple name that nobody can spell wrong. So I went back to my maiden name, which is Carr, C-A-R-R, and a little of the old Celtic gene there. And then, and then I added Harper, which is androgynous, and I really like that sort of she-they, is where Harper is coming from. So that's what happened. And then I'm writing a lot more young adult teen through Harper. That helps too.
Well, I changed my name to James Patterson.
Oh, okay.
But you are relaunching some of the books you had written under W.L. Hawken.
I did.
So, just so people know, if they're Hawken fans, there will be some books that are relaunched and recovered, retitled, and everything, but under Harper Carr.
Exactly. So the Hollystone Mysteries is now called The Man in Black, and that really came about because after writing Estrada's character for so many years, I realized it was all about him. I mean, and I have to say this, on the weekend, I was watching a new show on Netflix called Sandokan, the Pirate Prince. I don't know if you've seen that. Well, I think you should, because the actor is Turkish. His name is Can Yaman. And he is the man that if my books ever get put into films, she should be playing Estrada. He is exactly who I see when I'm writing Estrada.
That's interesting.
Yes. So I had my actor all picked out.
Pirate Prince.
You lost a job there, Mike. So.
Oh well.
Yeah, no good with a cast on your thumb anyway. It wouldn't
That's
work.
Right.
Honestly, just Google him and you'll see what I mean. He's pretty amazing. And apparently he's a lawyer who then turned into an actor.
So listen, Shadow Man. So what's the Shadow Man? What is this? Tell us a little bit about the story and what's happening here.
Right. Well, the Shadow Man, first of all, was 10 years in the making, and it went through 4 titles and 2 complete revisions. 3 or 4 complete revisions. I nearly tossed it twice, so I'm really happy that it's where I want it to be right now. It's a young adult paranormal murder mystery. Even like a general mystery that has a little bit of murder in there, because you got to have a murder every once in a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's about a 17-year-old girl who was raised at a lighthouse. Her parents were lighthouse keepers, and she was raised there till she was 13, and her mother jumped off a cliff. Her father had a breakdown, and they had to leave. So she's been living for 4 years, emotionally stunted in her aunt's house. She just kind of went into academics because she didn't want to feel anything. So she's really closed off, and she's been bullied by her cousin for the last 4 years. So one night she's there, and it's the fourth anniversary of her mother's suicide, and she notices her father's sailboat is in flames outside in the bay. She goes down to save him, and she can't, but she saves a silver box that was her mother's, and she finds inside it a letter addressed to her, which she reads, and it's his confession saying, "Your mother didn't jump, I pushed her." Yeah, and he sort of goes on to say, "She was having an affair, and I just lost my mind, and I pushed her off the cliff, and, I'm sorry." So this trauma brings about a lot of changes in her. She suddenly can see spirits like her mother and grandmother could. And so she's seeing spirits and ghosts. In the beginning, she sees the shadow man. She doesn't quite know what's happening with that, but she can definitely see him and smell his aftershave and different things. And then the spirits become so real to her, they look like real people, and she can't tell the difference. That's a tough place to be in. Her father begs her to go back to the lighthouse and find her mother's journal in the old Spanish church and read it, because he wants her to try and understand how he lost his mind and pushed her off a cliff. He wants forgiveness, and at first she doesn't want to go. By the way, I'm not telling you the whole plot. This all happens in the first 2 scenes. So I'm just still telling you the inciting incident. She doesn't want to go, but then she decides, well, actually, then her cousin posts his confession on the internet. And that's kind of the determining factor for her. She wants to run and hide because she's living on a small island, and she knows that everybody's going to know what happened. Her father's a murderer. So she decides she's going to go back to this lighthouse. So the story is about her going back to the lighthouse and trying to find out the truth about her mother's life and death. And when she realizes that she can actually see spirits, then she realizes, hey, I might be able to see my mother and find out the truth from her rather than my dad, who I don't trust anymore because I just found out he's a murderer.
So with this kind of a story, why was it hard for you? Is that why it took 10 years to put it together, or what was the issue in taking 10 years? When
I first wrote it, I wrote it as really everything was real in it, and then I decided to fictionalize the whole thing. So it took a complete rewrite, and I fictionalized the setting. So the setting actually came from when I was a lighthouse keeper. That's where the inspiration came from as well. I was a lighthouse keeper for the Canadian Coast Guard for a year, and I went to 7 different light stations. And so I decided to fictionalize it sort of based on compiling a lot of those different light stations and creating this one new place called Feroz Lighthouse.
So, I mean, how many people did you push off?
Cliffs?
The lighthouse, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
so
I mean, you're getting experience.
Nonfiction or fiction?
Yeah. Well, you gotta get the lived experience in order to write about it, right?
A lot of my lived experience is in the book, okay? Because I did keep a blog in those days as well, so it's called Life on the BC Lights at blogspot.com, and there's a lot of photos, and a lot of my adventures are in there. I did encounter spirits at some of the light stations. Lighthouses are romantic but also haunted. That's where the idea came from.
Well, was it scary spirits that you encountered when you were there, or something else?
It was more a feeling. And at the one station where I spent the most time, I was there for 2 months in the spring. That one is a National Historic Site. It's right on the west coast. It's called Nootka. And it's north of Tofino on the west coast of Vancouver Island. And it's a historic site because there have been so many things happen there. Captain Cook came there. There were fights between the English and the Spanish. everybody wanted the land, everybody wanted the fur trade, the sea otter fur trade. And of course, it was also the summer home of the Moichat Muchalot people, but they kind of ignored that part. They just wanted to trade with them and take the land, which is, an old story for us here and everywhere. So there were a lot of things and there is a book that was written that said, that I was reading at the time I was there, that said that actually 22 or 20 something men were killed there and decapitated and their heads lined up on the ship. I was reading all of this while I was there, and that kind of gave me the creeps, but because I could also feel the energy. There was also a cemetery there, and I spent a lot of time in the cemetery. I kind of like cemeteries. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, people are just dying to go there.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I do like them. I think there's just some interesting energy there. So I was feeling the spirits, and then what really did it for me was one night I was in bed, and I had just written these blogs and read this book, and I was feeling that I was thinking, what happened to all these people? Are their bodies still here? Are they in the bay? Are they buried? Where are all the people that died in this supposed, I can say massacre, I suppose. I don't like that word, but where did they go? And then my bed started to move, from side to side, like seriously move, like a couple of feet moving, sliding across the floor. And I was half asleep because I was always doing the morning shift. So my shift started at 4 a.m. So this was about 7:30, 7:45 at night, and I was already in bed trying to go to sleep. And the bed's moving, and I just got out of bed when it stopped moving and looked at it and said, okay, guys, stop it. Enough already. Stop it. Because I was sure that they were after me, the spirits.
I was actually part of a paranormal team for a while, and I actually do Jack the Ripper lectures for Adam Berry, who's that Kindred Spirits guy.
Okay.
And then, but they kicked me off because one time there was at the spot, poltergeist there, or the penny or something that was thrown, and it hit one of our guys in the head. So I said, well, that knocked some sense into.
Oh my gosh. You're that guy, huh?
That's a true story. But have you ever thought, with that kind of experience, have you ever thought about doing something like that, or is that part of your books maybe?
Yes, not throwing pennies at people to knock sense into them. But let me just finish that story. So right after I said that, I heard a voice from the other room say, yeah, we all had an earthquake here. Did you all feel it? And it was on the radio. It was one of the other lighthouse keepers up the coast. So we actually had a 6.7 earthquake right sort of near where I was living on the edge of a rock. That's what it was. But I went,
oh, okay.
But that kind of was like, this is a good idea to put a paranormal mystery here. That's what I ended up doing. I did, though, in terms of your question, Michael, when I came back and I decided to make Gracelyn a medium, I have seen ghosts myself quite a few times, and I decided but I didn't know about being a medium, so I decided to learn about mediumship. So I studied mediumship and psychic development for a year after that.
We had a medium that ran it, and here it is. I am psychically challenged. Nothing happens with me, and I was quite the skeptic, but she shocked me. There's a number of times. So I was really amazed at that. So she's been on that show too. But hey, I could connect you guys.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I really didn't know, but the first night we met, there were a lot of people in that room, and we were put into pairs, and we had to read for each other, and people were reading. And the way you do that is you're sort of sitting across from somebody, and you are going into a meditative state, and then whatever comes into your mind, you're saying. So, I had a couple where the women were like, yeah, and it was so clear that sometimes some of them made me cry. It was so intense. The emotion was so intense. I burst into tears a couple of times. And I could definitely see people and describe them, and they're like, oh my gosh, that is my aunt. Like exactly what you're saying. That is how she was. That's what she wore, all that. So
You could be an empath then.
oh yeah, because I'm feeling what they're feeling. Yeah, maybe. I mean, some of them were very distressed, right? So, I mean, I definitely believe that there are a lot of spirits around. And when I was going through that training, I guess you could call it, you know, I kept having like things happen, like I'd see in my mind this person, and I'd be like, this really sounds like my Uncle Bud. This happened to me at one point. And I'm like, but my Uncle Bud's still alive, so that can't be. But so I came home and I Googled him, and his obituary came up. And I was like, oh my God. So it must have been my Uncle Bud. And he just wanted to say, you know, I'm thinking about you. I care about you. And I think that is a lot what the spirits are trying to do when they are kind of messing around in houses or trying to get your attention in some way, whichever way they can, right?
I think personally that there's all this going on, and it's how much you pay attention to it, you know, because we're all as people different, and we got different things going on, and it's how much we focus on it.
Well, yeah, you can't be in your everyday mind. You know, you have to take yourself down into like a meditative state to be able to get into that. I mean, it's just a thing. I used to, when I was, long ago, in the days of when I was married, and I married a musician, and he was on the road all the time, and I lived in a house out in the middle of nowhere. I was fairly nervous staying there, but I constantly I'd be asleep, and I'd sort of wake up, and I'd be like, oh my God, there's somebody in the room. And then I'd reach over and turn on the light, and there'd be nobody there. And this happened to me all the time. And I swear there were definitely spirits, angels, whatever you want to call them. Somebody was looking out for me. And I know one Christmas Eve for sure, I was awake. I woke up and I was awake, and I saw a figure at the end of my bed. And that was very clear. And I thought, okay, somebody's visiting for Christmas. But they didn't make me scared. Like, I wasn't scared that there were spirits coming around. I always felt like they were there for a reason, you know, to look out for me or just to see that I was okay, right?
Do you write when you do this sort of thing? Because you say it's teen and young adult fiction. Do you write differently for teen, young adults when it comes to paranormal, or just dark secrets like this and the way?
Well, you know what? I mean, I think that's a great question, because I think a lot of people think that writing for young adults and teens, you have to have like no sex and, you know, no swearing and all that stuff. But one of the major things you have to do if you write for young adults and teens is read. And I read a lot of it. And I read it because it's way more exciting than normal adult fiction. And in terms of sex and swearing, everything goes, okay? Like you don't have to sort of hold back with that. So there you go. I mean, I
would think that, because, you know, when I remember being younger,
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the old people saying, oh, you can't say this word, or you can't talk about this, or you can't talk about that. And I'd be thinking, as a kid, as a teenager, I'm thinking, why? I know about it. I know what's going on.
Yeah, and every other word out of your mouth is...
Yeah, well, you know, that's your kid, you're teenagers, so you do these things, you know, you're into the music of the time and the movies and
For sure.
and the styles and all that, and you think the older people, the parents, are just kind of like square, you know, they're out of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know why people say that all the time. Oh, you can't do this because, oh my, you know, I'm thinking.
Well, Wendy, you said that you were in the Coast Guard. I was in the Navy, and that language, the F word is in every single sentence, and the average age in the Navy is 19, so it's young adult.
Yes, yes. And I have a friend in the RCMP, and I hear the same. I mean, I think it's just how you cope sometimes with life, right? But I mean, I was an at-risk kid too, so like right from when I was about 14, and so I had a tough teenage years, really tough. And I was out of the house by the time I was 16, 17. And so I like writing 17-year-olds. I think because I get 17-year-olds, you know, I really get it, because it's just in that age where, you're not a kid, you're not an adult, you're trying everything on. And I'm actually surprised I lived through it now. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, really. I got into some stuff that, boy, I think I did have angels following me around because, yeah.
Yeah, you could have gotten in trouble.
I could have well, I did get in trouble, but I mean, it could have gone really badly, is what I'm saying, and this was like the 70s in Toronto. I mean,
oh, the big TO.
Yeah, I mean, things could have gone really badly. So
That's an hour and a half away from me. I'm a Buffalo guy.
okay, so you got the big storm last week, which is how you got
not
your
as much as the
broke.
East Coast. Yeah, that is true. We did get some.
Yeah.
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, this book, I will say, because it isn't like my other books in terms of I am not using those words, and there is a little bit. I mean, there's a love story in here. She does meet up with her first kiss, the boy that was her first kiss, and she hasn't seen him in 4 years, and they're like 18, 17 now, and he's changed a little bit. So yeah, he looks a little bit like Sandokan now, right? Yeah, there is that in there, but I'm just saying other books that I've read, they go right for it. I mean, I've read a lot of YA horror that is, wow, really crazy, and some, I don't know, everything. It just seems more intense. I think writing for young adults and teens, everything is more intense. The emotions are more intense. And you remember at that age, I mean, it was all about who are you in love with today, right? Yeah.
I'm still there.
Well, there you go. Yeah, right? And really,
Well, I mean,
it is.
I'm older, but I still feel like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my body doesn't look it anymore, but I still act like I'm that
Well,
kid.
thank goodness. Thank goodness we can do that, But yeah, it is. And I mean, I just read, and I can't remember the name of this book now, but I do a lot of Goodreads reviews as Harper Carr. All my teen books that I read are on there. And I just read a couple that were so intense, and they were both male, and just an intense love affair between these two guys that and it had a lot of flowers in it, and vines and gardens, and it was just brilliant. It was brilliant, but the intensity kept me going. Like I was reading these books in like 2 hours because they were so incredible.
Well, what challenges do you find you have to face as a young adult writer?
I don't know. Challenges.
Like, are there any? Like when you're doing it, you sit down, are there kind of like times where you're like, oh, and you kind of have to think or struggle on to get through something? Or
Yeah, I don't know. I'm writing another one right now. I took my first one, so I can sort of speak to that. I took To Charm a Killer, which was the first W.L. Hawken in my Hollystone series. I had left one of the girls. It ended up in Ireland, and it ended at Christmas. And then I wrote a whole bunch of other books, and now I've come back to her, and I'm like, I'm going to write her story, and I'm going to make it a young adult story, because she is 17, of course, and she's in Ireland with this family she doesn't know after being in Vancouver her whole life. And so I'm writing her story, and I am kind of, it's not a challenge so much as I'm thinking, would she really do this? Because the first thing she does is go out and she meets this really hot guy and ends up in the woods, and she's going to kiss him. And I'm thinking, would she really do this? And I'm like, yes, she would. Yes, she would, because we would do that when we were 17. I think we would. I would. I would. So, I mean, if I would, then she would. So
then that's all that matters.
Yeah, right? So, I mean.
Well, so did you start with your characters or the scene? Like what, or was it a question? Like where was the beginning of this book?
The Shadow Man book? What did I start with? Honestly, I can't remember where these characters came from. Usually I can, but
Well, you're only 17.
I can't remember. They must have, I don't remember how they came about, but,
Wasn't that weird?
It really is character driven, though.
Yeah.
And it's very character driven, and it really is about this girl who I feel really bad for her because she has had such a hard time, and now she really, she's feeling she has nobody. She's lost everybody. So everybody she grew up with at the lighthouse, her mother, her father, her sweetheart, and his mother and his uncle. That was her core family for her whole life, and she's lost them all. And she's having to live in this house with this horrific girl that's her cousin. That's just awful.
Where do you get the model for that awful person?
That's interesting.
Imagination, I think.
Oh, sure. Come on. I want a name.
Yeah, I get a name.
Let's get some names.
I mean, I always say like Serafina, her name's Serafina because she's nothing like an angel, but she makes the mean girls look nice. She is just all that. And she thinks she's really something, but she's horrible. And,
you have young teenage beta readers or anything?
I do.
I
actually, when I was writing this, I was living in Campbell River, and I spoke to the librarian at the school there, and she hooked me up with some of her kids that she thought would be great. And one of them in particular has stayed with me, and she did a really good job as a beta reader. And I really appreciated hearing that from her, because there was one part, for example, where they're almost in a place where they're getting married, and she said, "What? Why would she be getting married? She's way too young to get married." And I thought, okay, I'm going to listen to that. So I mean, it's interesting, right? Like what the kids have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So I just sent her the book, so she's excited because she was great.
On the creative side, I was just going to say, what do you find more of a challenge? Writing the scary scenes, the paranormal, or the emotional moments between the characters?
The emotional moments, I'm fine. I think action is the hardest thing for me. And not the scary stuff wasn't even hard, but anything where I have to do like fight scenes or anything, that is hard for me because I'm really not a physical person. And I don't understand how bodies work. I'm kind of klutzy, and I fall down and hurt myself a lot. So those are the hardest things for me.
Well, I mean, you should get out and shovel the snow and break a thumb or something.
Yeah.
Then you know how to write action.
Yeah, I hate to say it, Michael, but we didn't have even any snow on the coast this year.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing
in the interior.
No.
I'm
nothing.
still waiting.
Yeah, plenty of rain, but no snow.
So what's next then? So you said you're writing another one of these?
Yeah, so I'm writing Maggie's story in Ireland right now, and actually have another book that is, well, it's about rum running days, and it's also for young adults, and it's completed. And I'm just trying to figure out about publication, so it might come out next year if I don't come up with a publisher. So I'm kind of looking at what to do with that one. But it bounces off Prohibition, and it's set in 1924 in Victoria and the Gulf Islands. During that time when America went dry and the guys with boats in Canada would run booze out to them. And it was actually a really dangerous time, like very dangerous. So I had read, this is getting into another book, but that's how I got a little bit of inspiration. Years ago, I read a story about one of the most brutal murders that ever happened in BC. And you might have heard of this because you do true crime, right? Bill Gillis on the Barrel G and his son. And they were boarded by 3 American guys who pretended that they were customs agents. And it was brutal. They killed them both, sliced them all up, took all the booze, and hijacked it, basically. And they found the boat floating around covered in blood. September 24th, 1923, I think it was. And that was my spin-off. I never forgot that. And so this book spins off of that book. And the people in this book actually sort of know these people. And then I went from there. another 17-year-old with parent problems.
Wow. Yeah.
Echoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that'll probably be my next book, hopefully, coming out. Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And then I've got another lore book coming out. I'm working with an Indigenous editor this summer, and that book's finished as well. You know how you get these books that are kind of like, they're ready to go, but they're not quite ready to go. So that's where I am right now.
So actually, do you have a website and social media set up for fans or readers or people to come?
For
come
sure.
find you
For sure. So the best place for me is bluehavenpress.com. And you can find me there under all my different identities. And you can actually buy my book directly from me there, which is kind of cool. I like it when people do that.
Well, the book is out now, came out yesterday, and it's called The Shadow Man, and it's Harper Carr. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
This has been a production of the House of Mystery Radio Show. To find out more about our show, guests, or hosts, go to our website at houseofmysteryradio.com.